ఇది రికార్డ్ అవుతుంది కానీ ఎవరు లేరు కదా. ఓకే. Good afternoon, children. Today we are going to take up the topic of agriculture sector in Indian economy. As you aware, in the earlier classes we were discussed about our Indian economy. In this connection, we come to know what is development, what is underdevelopment, what is economic growth, what is deprivation, and we also compared how the growth is differ from the economic development. Moreover, what is the situation of economic growth, occupational structure in India, especially working population, that what we come to know from the block number 1. In connection with that, even block number 2, we were discussed about national income. National income is the sum total value of final economic goods and services produced in an accounting year is called as a national income. This national income can be estimated with the 3 methods: value added method, expenditure method, and income method. In the first time in India, the national income estimates were made by Dadabhai Nauroji, whom we call it as the grand old man of India. Afterwards, with a scientific way, V.K.R.V. Rao estimated the national income. When you see the national income estimates of our India, maximum share we get it from the primary sector, not from the secondary and tertiary sector. Whatever it is the share, let it get from any sector we feel, but the getting more share from the industrial sector, or what you can say secondary sector, it is a certain one, and you can say the basic development we can assume. Whereas in the primary sector, contribution means that national income also uncertain. Okay, my dear children, here one thing I want to discuss with you about the poverty, income inequalities in India, and unemployment in India. If time permits to us, we will move on to the block number 3, the agriculture sector, agrarian structure, land reforms, green revolution in India, and agrarian crisis. These things we can go for. Before that, let me discuss with you about the poverty. Actually, what is poverty? Why poverty arises? What are the reasons for poverty? Always we are blaming the overpopulation may be the reason for poverty. Is it so? And none other than that reason is there or not? So when you see the actual picture, we will come to know why this poverty situation, even after 75 years of independence, still poverty is prevailing in India. Actually, what is poverty? Who are unable to get minimum requirements for their livelihood, they are called poverty. And the poverties are so different types: absolute poverty and relative poverty. Our discussion is not about the relative poverty, because it is speaks about the only income inequalities, whereas absolute poverty means who are unable to get minimum requirements, minimum needs for their livelihood, they are treated absolute poverty. Poverty and income inequalities are both our problems, are challenges for India, especially presently. So poverty can be defined as a social phenomena in which section of the society is unable to fulfill even its basic necessities of life. And for this, what should be the yardstick to measure? There are 2 types of yardsticks. One is with the income, and another thing is intake of calories, which will give energy for work for us. According to Rangarajan panel, who was earlier governor of RBI and deputy planning commissioner, and so many portfolios are enjoyed by him. According to him, the 952 in the rural area, in the urban area 1407, who are not able to get they come under BPL, below poverty line. When come to the calories of intake, that is in the rural area, 4,760 calories per month per person, 7,035 per month in the urban area. So if we are not able to get, they fall under below poverty line. And moreover, ours is not the relative poverty, ours is the absolute poverty. Okay, relative poverty means just income inequalities only. So poverty estimates recently, that is 61st round of the NSSO made. According to that data, almost more than 50% of the population come under below poverty line. So how you can estimate the poverty gap index? Very simple. Poverty gap is equal to poverty line minus average consumption expenditure of the food and divided by poverty line, so that we get poverty gap. What are the causes? Okay, we know the consequences. What are the reasons for the poverty? The concentration of economic power. Do you know very well? Most of the assets are owned by 10% of the population. Remaining 10% of the assets are held by 90% of the population. Means concentration of economic power, wealth, assets, buildings in the hands of few people, that might be led to the poverty. And another thing is population explosion. You aware that from 1921 onwards, in India, birth rate increasing rate, death rate declined due to the medical, sanitary, and other facilities. So because of that, from 1921, we call it as a great divide year. From that year onwards, the population is increasing at compound rate. We are the second populous nation in the world, that you know very well. So the population pressure, population explosion is also one of the reason for the poverty. And another reason, unemployment. What is unemployment? Who are able and ready to work at existing wage rate, if they are not getting the work, they are treated as unemployed. Of course, unemployment, different types. In the coming chapter, we can discuss about the types of unemployment, the reasons for unemployment. You know well, unemployment means the income levels are less. When income levels are less, means they are coming under below poverty line only. The next is education. We are not getting the proper skill-based education, traditional education we are getting, which is not providing any skills, and moreover, it could not able to provide na self-employment, na wage employment. So such a type of, and we should not blame also, but the thing is, which kind of education we required, that we don't have. That is scientific education we required, technical education we required, professional education we required, management education we required, skill-based education we required, vocational education we required, but we are going with the traditional education, which education was proposed by an English person, the Minutes of Macaulay, that you know well, 10 plus 2 plus 3. Who could able to mug up more, they could score more and more, but the skills are not that much. We need training, we need skill, we need abilities, but such type of we are not getting for the education. That education is also one of the reason for the poverty. And low availability of essentials. The essential commodities are very less in quantity to provide the larger section of the people. At the same time, inflation also one of the reason for the poverty. What do you mean by inflation? Ever rising prices to the commodities called inflation. Inflation led to the even middle class families into the below poverty line. And low technology, capital deficiency, failure of our 5-year plans, and in addition to that, recent economic reforms such as LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. It is also one of the reason for the poverty, I can say. And even other social factors also responsible for the poverty. Okay, social factors such as illiteracy, ignorance, religious misbeliefs, casteism, joint family system, so and so forth. These are the reasons for poverty. The poverty led to the other problems, which we call it as a consequences. Those consequences we can tell, that is unequal opportunities, concentration of economic power, rich become a rich and poor remain a poor, and it led to the income inequalities, inefficiency, problem of unemployment, society, social unrest, malnutrition, and health deteriorating. All these may happens because of the poverty. That's why poverty we supposed to remove. To remove the poverty itself, D.P. Dhar, economist, during the fifth 5-year plan, he envisaged that removal of poverty. For that only, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, when she was the Prime Minister of India, Garibi Hatao, with that slogan, she came to the power and she made a main objective of the 5-year plans, and she tried her level best to implement even 20-point economic program, but the result is not expected level, that you know well. Okay, so how to remove the poverty then? Trickle down theory only. This what you say, income inequalities to be reduced, and special economic programs to be introduced. For that sake, so many programs were introduced, the self-employment programs and wage employment programs. In that, the highlight one is Manegra, Mahatma Gandhi Regional Rural Employment Act 2005. 100 working days to the able rural people provided. Understood? So in this way, these could able to succeed some extent. Even they are giving the economic financial assistance to the people to cope up and away from the poverty. So in income inequalities more in India, that we know very well, in the land distribution, asset distribution, wealth distribution, or you can say building distribution, or what you say, industries, everything. So the concentration of assets in the private corporate sector, still it is going on. And professional training also not available for the all. And inequity in the credit facilities, rich only getting the credit facility than the poor people. And moreover, the private investment only urban based, that to educated people only getting, whereas uneducated, female, rural area people are not getting. For that, what remedies we can take? Only thing is, first we should attack, and we supposed to bring the structural organizational changes in the agriculture sector, because it is the largest employer and livelihood source for large section of the people. So there we supposed to go with the land reforms. Okay, then for that, redistribution of land, land sealing, cooperative farming, and so forth, removal of intermediaries and regulation of rent, all these things should be taken up, so that little bit improvement takes place to away from the poverty. And Monopoly Trade Practices Act, strictly they're supposed to implement, but recently that they removed also MRTP Act. Okay, FERA also removed that, made it as a FEMA. So employment wage policies to be established, social security measures to be taken up. So these minimum needs program, like that, so many are there. But when you are doing only, when you are implementing properly only, the fruits will be enjoyed with the poor people. They will away from the below poverty line. They may be lifted to the APL, above poverty line. Let us hope for the best. Future coming generation think over it, the present situation, and accordingly they make plans or strategies to lift the poor people to the above poverty line. Okay, and another thing is lack of political will, also one of the reason. Politicians saying something, doing something, that you know very well. So like that, so many reasons are there. So let us hope for the best. In coming days, the poverty may be removed from India. Okay, गरीबी हटाना बोलना नहीं, हटाना चाहिए. कुछ लोग बोलते हैं गरीबी हटाना मुश्किल है, गरीबों को हटाएंगे. That is not good, na? So they were supposed to lift above poverty line. So another challenge, another problem for Indian economy, that is unemployment problem. What is unemployment? Just now only I told you that is unemployment means who are able, willing, ready to work at existing wage rate, and work is not provided. They are called as a unemployed. These unemployments are various types. If you see in the agriculture sector, seasonal unemployment, disguised season during the Kharif and Rabi season, they get employment. During other seasons, they won't get employment. That is called seasonal unemployment. Like disguised unemployment. Look like they are working in the field, but their marginal productivity of labor is zero. Means their presence not makes extra output. Then they are look like employed, but they are not employed. That's why they are called disguised unemployment. In the urban area, novel educated employment, industrial unemployment, frictional unemployment, technical unemployment, cyclical unemployment, like the different types of unemployments are there. Okay, these unemployment, this unemployment, how to remove or how to go for generation of employment. That's why only various schemes were implemented. Wage employment programs and self-employment programs are introduced. Actually, what are the reasons for poverty, reasons for unemployment? Growth is there, but jobless growth. Means labor is available, but we are not making use of labor, we are making use of machinery. Okay, we can engage more people, but we are running with less people, more work. So this led to the jobless growth. Na? Production is there, productivity is there, but the thing is, job is not there. Means whichever the production or productivity or growth is there, it should generate employment. Without generating employment, it is increasing the output. This led to the unequal distribution among the people. Okay, that jobless is growth. Then labor force more and more. Then what? Now we have an idea. So first, workforce are two types. One is called hired. Another one is called self-employed. Hired worker means what? They are working under somebody. They are not the owner. They are hired workers. Who are owner as well as worker, they are self-employed. In that hired worker also again two types. Casual as well as next one is regular. So regular employment are few people, but casual employment more. This casualization of workforce increasing a lot. Means they are not getting the regular source of income, regular work. So that is the thing what is happening. One next topic, let me tell you. Labor force is different, workforce is different. Workforce means who are working, who could able to add the output, production. Whereas labor force, their workforce plus unemployed together is called labor force. In India, labor force is more, workforce is less. If you don't mind, one thing I will tell you, 1/3 of the population, that is 30 crores of population is working, remaining population is, they are only consumers, not the producers. Understood? So then which technology we require? That we don't have. And educational system, I don't want to blame again, you know well, right? So because of unemployment, what is happening? We are unable to use the resource. Which resource? Human resource. What is human resource? potentialities, abilities, skills of the people is called human resource. The whole population is not a human resource. Then how we can make a human resource? By educating, by training, on-job training, migration, mobility. This will add, then with this will generate the population converted the human resource. But that human resource we are not able to use. That is what you call it as an underutilization of resources. Another one. Then poverty, social problems, you know well, political instability, exploitation of labor, bonded labor, vetti chaki, like that. So many things we used to listen. And loss of skills, all these. So, sir, what remedies you can give, sir? Oh, always we are speaking about the problem. No? Solution also we should think. What is a better solution to away from that problem? So rural works program should be implementing. Marginal farmers, agricultural laborers, further some schemes to be introduced, like a poultry, fishery, dairy, all these are there. No? Then small farmers development agency is supposed to give loans to them. Integrated rural development, agro service center should be, crash programs for the rural employment guarantee scheme, national rural employment scheme, food for work program, like that. IRDP, NREP, Jawahar Rozgar Yojana, Pradhana Mantri Rozgar Yojana, Indra Anna Yojana, Valmiki Avas Yojana, Surya Jayanti Rozgar Yojana. All these are the some of the program strategies which were introduced, implemented. But one thing true, my dear friends, that is even after implementation also, expected results, expected outcome, we could not achieve. Okay, so let us hope for the best in coming future. Definitely, unemployment may be removed, and our long-term objective of the plan, that is full employment, may be achieved. Okay, the state of unemployment appears when labor does not obtain employment opportunity despite his willingness to work on existing wage rate. The different types of unemployment are structural unemployment, underemployment, disguised unemployment, open employment, educated unemployment, frictional unemployment, seasonal unemployment, cyclical unemployment, technological unemployment. Levels of unemployment can be measured through the three important concepts, especially unusual principal status, weekly status, daily status unemployment. Most of the unemployment in India, structural nature. The data of unemployment reveal that the fact unemployment rate is higher in the urban area than the rural area. Jobless growth, increase in labor force, inappropriate technology and educational system, and neoliberal economic policy are the important causes for the problem of unemployment in India. To overcome the problem unemployment, the government introduced many programs like a Small Farmers Development Agency, RLGP, Manegra, and so forth. So in the coming days, let us hope for the best, and unemployment may be reduced, at least, if not full employment generation is not possible. Right, my dear children, with this, we could able to conclude the block 1 and block 2. As time is permitting to us, 15 minutes are there. I am going with block number 3, that is agriculture sector. This block discuss about the issues of agriculture sector, that consists of the 3 units, my dear children: agrarian structure, land reforms, green revolution. This is the 7th unit. 8th unit speaks about the agrarian crisis and food security in India. Then last unit, that is 9th unit, agriculture finance, marketing and finance, pricing. These are the part of the block number 3. So the first, agrarian structure. By reading this unit, we can come to know the what kind of technology we are using in agriculture, what is the agrarian structure, what are the land reforms which were taken up after independence, what is the agriculture performance before green revolution and after green revolution, that we will come to know with the help of this one. Agriculture development is a part of overall development of our economy, as it is more contributor to the national income, more large employer of the economy, and moreover livelihood for the largest section of the population. This agriculture development is very important. But agrarian structure, how it is, the practically when you see, it is differ in the earlier days and now. The modern agriculture technology we can divide: hydrological technology, mechanical technology, biochemical technology, managerial technology. If you include hydrotechnology, includes a part of a labor, only two categories of modern technology, that is mechanical technology and biochemical technology. So here, my dear friends, the biochemical technology provides the contribution of chemistry, biology, that fertilizer, pesticides, synthetic, all these come under, that is weedicides, herbicides, all these are come under biochemical. Mechanical, tractor, thriller, harvester, bulldozer, driller, like a machinery tools we use, okay, in the crop operations. Okay, Nana. So these now what we are using to get more production and productivity from the agriculture sector. Okay, Nana. Okay, now, so before Green Revolution, first we were taken up the land reforms. The Planning Commission mentioned the objectives of land reforms in 1951 itself. Okay, the land reforms consist of, the first one is abolition of intermediaries. Jamindari, Jagirdari, Mahalwari system was there. They are the brokers in between farmer and government. They are the agents and puppets of the British India, that you know well. So as long as they are there, they are deceiving the farmer and looting the farmer, charging the high rate of rent from the farmer, and moreover, they were not providing the permanent irrigation facilities or development for the agriculture. So better to remove the intermediaries. Anyway, after independence, this was taken up, and Raitwari system introduced, the now direct relation between farmer and what you say, government, that you know well. Then second is tenancy reform. Tenants should get more share, but unfortunately, being a ownership, they are taking more share, and who are working really, they are getting the meager amount. That's why a tenancy system should be changed. That's for that regulation on the rent, security for the tenure. You know well, this tenants also permanent tenant, subtenant, temporary tenant. Most of the people are temporary tenant, not the permanent tenant, because they don't have any rights on that land. Even they may remove also. So that's why we're supposed to have such a contract to make a safety security for the even tenant, and we should not collect the more share of the produce on which he worked. Okay, that's why tenancy reforms, regulation on rent, security for the tenant is given. Then next is what you say, ceiling on land holdings. One family supposed to have this much of land. More than that means government should take up, and it should be redistributed to the poor people, landless people, marginal farmer, and small farmer. Like that, we supposed to go. That's why they introduced the land ceiling system. But in this land ceiling system, as there are some of the drawbacks are there, and politicians, bureaucrats, and landlords with that loopholes, they could not able to hand over. They are not handed over their surplus land, and they could able to continue with their ownership. That because of loopholes in the attack, the lack of political will, bureaucratic obstacles, and that you know well, litigations and non-availability of the land records, disparities, delay in the follow-up action that led to the non-success of the Land Sailing Act. Okay, not only that, cooperative farming also. Bhudan movement was taken up by the you know well, Gandhi is in philosopher who started from Nalgonda, that is Bhudan, Puchampalli, that is Acharya Vinobha Bhave. But that one also not redistributed to the four families. Right. So what I would like to say, whatever the programs were implemented, it should not give much more gap in the implementation. Then and there it should be implemented without this lack of political and bureaucratic setup. Okay. Anyway, so fortunately we could get a green revolution during 1969 because of the favorable weather condition and utilization of tractor thriller harvester and biochemical fertilizers like a high yielding varieties, fertilizer, pesticide, and insecticide that given a boost for the agriculture production. But on that also some criticism is there. Yes, production increased, but only it limited to the two crops, that is what you say, wheat and rice. And moreover, these fruits of the green revolution were enjoyed with the landlords, not the small farmers, because they could not able to go for the tractor, thriller, harvester, bulldozer, driller like a mechanical tools, or they could not able to invest on the fertilizer, pesticides to make their land fertile to get the more output. Okay, and even small farmers sold their lands like that. Also, we have heard. So the green revolution given another scope for the revolution in the other sectors too, like, my dear children, like white revolution. That is what you say, animal husbandry, dairy development taken place. Operation Flood, we say. Blue revolution in the fish. Like that, it led to the other revolution, blue revolution, red revolution, green revolution, yellow revolution. Understood? So this is even though given less benefits to the small farm, marginal farm, but this led to the more production and given scope for the revolutionary situations in even other sectors too. Okay, this expansion of green revolution is required. It is continuing even in the first phase. Few states were enjoyed, few crops, but in the second stage, more states enjoying and more crops also. Cropping pattern, productivity also changed. So factors determining the cropping pattern. Actually, what is cropping pattern? What is cropping pattern? And that only I did a PhD in economics. What is the cropping pattern in the dry land agriculture? Okay, so cropping pattern implies proportion of area under different crops at a point of time. Once again, I'm repeating. Cropping pattern implies the proportion of area under different crops at a point of time, and change in the distribution of area under different crops over a period of time. That is called cropping pattern. The cropping pattern is mainly determined by natural factors like rainfall, climate, soil fertility. In addition to these, technological factors, which is playing a vital role, which we use for the different crops. So factor determining the cropping pattern are natural factors. That what I you know well. Natural factors means rainfall, soil, climate. Economic factors also. Economic factors mean incomes of the farmers, profitability of the crops, risk involved in that crop, price of the agriculture product. These are the economic factors which are going to decide cropping a pattern. Okay. Am I audible? Am I audible? Hello, my dear. Am I audible? Okay, right. So social factors also, customs, traditions. This is also one of the determining factor to decide the cropping pattern. Government policy also, you know well, government intervention also there, which is deciding floor price, ceiling price, a marginal, what you say, minimum support price you used to decide now for rice or paddy, or what you can say, even for the wheat. So such type will help the farmer to grow such and such a crops. So government policy, especially for the crop exports, so taxes, so subsidies, so inputs. Nowadays, it is giving the subsidies for the who are going for the palm oil trees or plantation. So more people are going for that one. Earlier, they encouraged what to say, cotton. So gone for cotton. So when they given subsidies and for the groundnut, they gone for. So means government policy also influencing the cropping pattern. My dear friends, here, so these are the some of the determining factors. So the green revolution is good, but the cost of production also increased, which led to the regional imbalances and differences between the rich and poor. Also economic inequalities were also taken place, that you know very well. So in a nutshell, land reforms required for technical change, though technical change can influence the institution. In view of this only, the post-independence period, land reforms were implemented by the government of India by abolishing intermediaries, enacting the tenancy laws in 1950. Then for the redistribution of surplus land, ceiling laws were enacted and implemented in 1960 to 1970s. The failure of the effective implementation of land reforms, depressing the poorer section, did not get the desired benefits of the land reforms. Many studies pointed out that there exists a wide gap between the acquisition of distribution of surplus land. However, the approach proper in the 11th plan, the need of the implement unfinished land reforms emphasized. When there was a food grain scarcity, first Indian government imported the food grain from the US, United States of America, under the PL4RT. It stopped in the 1960s. Then we thought of better to go for self-reliance and self-sufficiency. In the 1960s, the necessity to import more than the 10 million tons of food grains from the US. Then Mrs. Indira Gandhi entered into the agreement with US import the green revolution from the US in 1960 by accepting the rupee devaluation, decreasing the value of our currency note is called devaluation. Accordingly, US imported the seeds of high-yielding varieties, chemical fertilizers, tractors, irrigation provided through the several dams by the government. Tube-well irrigation also increased very well. Green revolution was successful in meeting the food needs so that India could achieve the self-sufficiency in the food grains and maintained the comfortable buffer stocks for future requirements by end of the 1980s. But it was important to recognize the fact that cost of green revolution reflected on the terms of environmental pollution, ecological imbalance, water pollution, air pollution, sound pollution due to the salinity, chemicalization, water lagging, further adoption of monocrop culture disturbed the crop diversity as well. So in this way, we faced the problem to get. So my dear children, here, before leaving from the class, I would like to introduce the another topic. Then I will leave from, as you are having the just 2 minutes. The 8th unit, Agrarian Crisis and Food Security in India. This unit 8 speaks about the liberalization, privatization, globalization conditions, its effect on the irrigation, HIV, chemical fertilizer, analyzing the agriculture development, globalization, how it is affected. Those are the things which you have from the chapter number 8. In the just as a gist of this 8th chapter, I want to share, my dear children, as you little bit of time is there. After independence, neoliberal policies in 1991, India entered into the World Trade Organization 1995, that you know well. Indian agriculture has faced some challenges due to the opening of the agriculture sector, competition in the international. Further, a lot of things were created in the minds of farmer that India could export several crops like rice, chili, tomato, cotton, prawn, etc., etc. Okay, but which required the costly seeds, fertilizer, adoption of chemical fertilizer, and like that. Increase in the cost of agriculture inputs without improper rise in the prices of crop output. MSP required. So, though the report of MS Swaminathan Commission recommended in 2004 that the government of India has fixed the minimum support price for the 50% of the cost of the cultivation. Okay. Cultivation. Okay. The problems faced by the tenant farmers solved the ensuring the registration without affecting the owner's right. The food security has been discussed various forms of primary goal of the development. Public distribution system mechanism used by various degrees of success. The success of food security programs depend on the great extent of the design of the scheme and manner of its implementation. That we know very well, my dear friends. The survey of rural households in the Bihar reveals that performance of the public distribution system has significantly improved. The implementation National Food Security Act 2013, which was introduced by Dr. Manmohan Singh when he was the Prime Minister of India. With these words, I want to leave. Um, my dear friends, if any doubt you have, you are welcome to ask. My phone number I am leaving here: 9966 561 796. Once again, I am repeating: 9966 561 796. Dr. Madhusudan. Anytime you can call and you can ask any doubt in this connection, which we already completed the chapter. In the next class, we can go with agriculture finance, marketing, pricing, and other chapters too. Okay, with these words, I'm concluding. Wish you all the best. Thank you, one and all. Hello? 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 Namaste. అవునవును 28th రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ స్టార్ట్. నేను మీకు ఆ లింక్ పంపనా? ఓలా అది ఆన్లైన్ అడ్మిషన్స్. ఓకేనా? మళ్ళీ ఇంకో క్లాస్. థ్యాంక్స్.